The night sky above Washington, D.C. was ripped apart by a horrifying spectacle on January 29, 2025. An American Airlines CRJ-700, Flight 5342, collided with a U.S. Army UH-60 Black Hawk helicopter. The unthinkable had happened. A mid-air collision near Reagan National Airport, a bustling hub just minutes from the nation's capital. 67 souls were on board the two aircraft. 60 passengers and 4 crew members had boarded the American Airlines Flight, their journeys cut tragically short. 3 U.S. Army soldiers were aboard the Black Hawk, their mission of service ending in the icy grip of the Potomac River. Witnesses described a scene of chaos and disbelief, the deafening roar of the collision, the terrifying descent of the aircraft, the plume of smoke rising in the night, a grim tableau etched into the memories of those who witnessed the tragedy. Hope dwindled with each passing hour as rescue crews searched frantically. The initial hope of finding survivors soon gave way to the grim reality of a recovery operation. The nation watched, hearts heavy, as the magnitude of the loss became devastatingly clear. American Airlines Flight 5342 embarked on a routine flight from Wichita, Kansas. Its destination, the familiar lights of Reagan National Airport. On board were families returning from vacations, business travelers concluding their trips, individuals eager to reunite with loved ones. Meanwhile, a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter lifted off from Davison Army Airfield at Fort Belvoir, Virginia. The 3 soldiers on board were conducting a routine training exercise, their flight path a familiar one over the nation's capital. At approximately 9 p.m. local time, tragedy struck. The 2 aircraft operating in the same airspace collided over the Potomac River. The collision occurred just moments after the American Airlines pilot had acknowledged instructions from air traffic control. The impact of the collision left a debris field stretching for hundreds of yards across the Potomac River. The fuselage of the CRJ-700, broken into 3 sections, was found inverted in the frigid water. The mangled remains of the Black Hawk helicopter, once a symbol of strength and agility, lay upside down nearby. The scene painted a grim picture of the devastating forces unleashed in those terrifying moments. First responders arrived at the crash site within minutes, their hearts pounding with a mix of urgency and dread. The sight that greeted them was one of utter devastation. The darkness of the night was pierced by the flashing lights of emergency vehicles, their reflections dancing on the surface of the water, a stark contrast to the somber task at hand. The recovery operation was both physically and emotionally demanding. Divers battled freezing water temperatures and near-zero visibility as they searched for survivors, and later, the remains of those lost. The debris field, scattered over a wide area, made the task even more challenging. Working tirelessly around the clock, recovery teams faced the grim reality of the situation. The recovery of the victims became the priority, a solemn duty to bring closure to the families who had lost their loved ones. The painstaking process involved carefully documenting the wreckage, recovering the remains, and preserving any evidence that could help determine the cause of the accident. Section 5. Whispers in the night air traffic control under scrutiny. As the investigation got underway, attention quickly turned to the role of air traffic control. Initial reports from the Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, revealed that staffing levels at the time of the accident were, well, not normal. In a startling revelation, it was discovered that the air traffic controller responsible for the airspace where the collision occurred had been handling both helicopter and airplane traffic, a task usually divided between 2 controllers. This revelation raised serious questions about potential human error and systemic issues within the FAA. Section 6. A confluence of errors factors contributing to the collision. While the investigation is ongoing, experts have pointed to a confluence of factors that may have contributed to the tragic collision. Night flying conditions, always a challenge for pilots, are being scrutinized. The shorter-than-average runway at Reagan National Airport, known to increase pilot workload during landings, is also under review. Additionally, the use of the Traffic Collision Avoidance System, or TCAS, in both aircraft is a focal point, with questions swirling about whether it was operational and if pilots received and responded to any warnings. The airspace around Reagan National Airport is known for its complexity. It's a high-traffic area with frequent military and commercial flights, demanding constant vigilance from pilots and air traffic controllers. Section 7. Voices of grief and determination. Reactions to the tragedy. The nation mourned as news of the tragedy spread. President Trump, visibly shaken, addressed the nation, expressing his deepest condolences to the families of the victims. He called the collision a confluence of bad decisions and a tragedy of terrible proportions. Captain Sully Sullenberger, the pilot hailed as a hero for safely landing a U.S. Airways flight on the Hudson River in 2009, shared his grief, emphasizing the importance of learning from such tragedies to prevent future accidents. The victims came from all walks of life, their stories a testament to the human cost of this disaster. Among them were families traveling together, young professionals pursuing their dreams, and individuals simply going about their daily lives. Section 8. Unfathomable loss. Remembering the victims. The figure skating community was particularly hard hit by the tragedy. Several rising stars from the Skating Club of Boston, including Everly and Lydia Livingston, were on board the flight, their dreams of Olympic glory dashed in an instant. Their coaches, Evgenia Shishkova and Vadim Naumov, also perished in the crash. The loss of these talented athletes and their mentors sent shockwaves through the sport, a stark reminder of life's fragility. The victims are more than just names on a list. They were mothers and fathers, sons and daughters, friends and colleagues, each one leaving behind a void that can never be filled. Their absence is felt deeply in their communities, their loss a stark reminder of the preciousness of life. Section 9. Ensuring such tragedies never happen again. Investigations and the future of aviation safety. In the wake of this devastating accident, the FAA, the National Transportation Safety Board, and the Department of Defense launched independent investigations. Their mission to determine the cause of the crash, identify any contributing factors, and recommend changes to prevent similar tragedies in the future. The investigations will be thorough and exhaustive, leaving no stone unturned in their pursuit of answers. Every aspect of the flight, from air traffic control communications to pilot actions to the mechanical condition of the aircraft, will be scrutinized. The findings of these investigations will be crucial in shaping the future of aviation safety. The goal is not to assign blame but to learn from this tragedy and make flying safer for everyone.